illness.
That was going to be my next segue. So now we're seeing, I did a video on is weed a sin? And I pretty much landed in this like controversial place where I was like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
I think the question to me is like, can you be high and still be sober, as the Bible encourages us to be, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, so I don't know. And I don't need to find out. Like, I don't smoke. I don't need to find out.
For sure.
But dude, I got a comment today from someone that was like, and it was so weird because I just had my buddy Fletch over here, who's a Marine veteran, and he deals with, you know, some mental health stuff.
For sure.
Supports
PTSD,
other people.
all that.
Yeah, other people that deal with mental health stuff. And someone in the military, a veteran that said, hey, like, I've been to war, this and this and this happened. I've really been struggling with this weed thing. The doctors actually prescribed it to me to help me deal with my anxiety, and it's been very helpful in dealing with it. And I don't know, you know? And I was like, man, I was like, dude, first of all, like, thank you for serving our country. Second of all, like, your situation is a bit different than like the 21-year-old kid that just wants to get high.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
You know, so
I got anxiety.
Yeah, I got problems. I got anxiety. Like, this is someone that's been to war, dealing with something gnarly, and so he said his appetite is back. He's leaving all these positive things. I was like, man, like, your situation's totally different. So my question for you, I guess, is where does medication become like a good idea? Like, is there a threshold, you know, and medicinal, because now that everyone is like, I'm anxious, and they get prescriptions for weed, especially in Cali, and I'm sure you're seeing it in the church. Like, where do you draw that line between, you know, medication to help you versus medication to get you high or just make you a zombie?
Right, no, definitely not to get you high or make you a zombie. But I think it's that thing of like, if a diabetic is, you know, type 1, I think it's type 1, and they can't control it with diet, then they got to take insulin. So that they can be normal. You know? And so my thing would be, if you have a mental illness and you need to take whatever it is, Zoloft or whatever, in order to be normal, then take it. You know, because I wouldn't tell you know, a guy with insulin and be like, well, hey man,
trust God.
Just trust God, and you know, you need to pray more, bro. You just need to pray more, and like, because a lot of these medications, they do mess with your mind a little bit. So it's important to find the right one. And for some it is, because and that's the thing too with each mental illness. There's like I think it's the mental health disorder. Oh gosh. Anyway, they classify. There's over 450 different mental illnesses out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, you know, ranging everything from, you know, depression, bipolar, to like anxiety disorder, schizophrenia. You know, even dementia is considered a mental disorder as you get later in life. 25% of the people, they say, have a mental illness. 50% will develop. 25% of the population
have some form of mental
illness. They say by the time they're, you know, within their lifetime, about 50% will develop a mental illness.
Jeez.
And so that means there's all different various forms of it too. And so there's not like a across the board, you know, so for like a diabetic, there's insulin and diet. But for someone who's got mental illness, sometimes like your depression or your anxiety is seasonal. And so you need something for a season. Sometimes it's, for me, a lot of times stuff starts popping at night when everything starts getting quiet, my mind starts cruising. You know what I mean? And so
how do you deal with it? Because you described it, you said your anxiety kind of gives you an edge. And
it does.
And Kanye on his new album, he officially came out as bipolar, and on his album he said it's not a mental illness, it's a superpower. That's how he described it. So there's people dealing with bipolar that see the manic episodes as full on. That's their superpower. They get super inspired, they're creative, and they're just going at it. What is that you said, that anxiety at night? What does that feel like, and how do you deal with it?
Man, it's different, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Is it's different in different days, different seasons. What's going on in my life, the amount of stuff I have going on or don't have going on. But for me, it can throw me into a little bit of a manic of like, I can crush, like sometimes at 11 o'clock at night I can crush email. You know, or other times I come up with some of my greatest ideas for like a new sermon series, or you know, a branding for a different ministry, or whatever that is. Like in those moments, like it just comes, because there's always a little bit of a tinge, a little bit of an edge to me when I walk into a room, partly because I'm ADD as well.
Yeah.
Like I notice everything.
Yeah.
And so when I walk into a room, I notice everything. I know that not in this room, but like I'd say like that chair is in the wrong place. It's messing with the flow of the way people can walk in here.
Wow.
And there's trash over there. And if somebody walks in and sees that trash, what they're going to think is this place isn't taken care of. So my mind goes like that.
Yeah.
So it can become a superpower.
Yeah.
Which allows me to create atmospheres.
Yeah.
But then it also can become a curse because it messes with my sleep. A lot of mental health, messes with other parts of your body, gut health, and so on and so forth. And so it's like, man, it's all over the place. So for me, I have to, because of, again, when I was a kid, I had it really bad. And so I learned coping mechanisms to deal with it and so like the way anxiety works, just anxiety, is it shoots, like it heightens a level in your body, and then eventually it's going to go down because your body can't run at that rate. So
is
heart
it cortisol that it shoots up, or what is it?
I think it is. I think it's cortisol, and then eventually it's just going to start to correct itself, right? But there's things that you can learn, like to cope with, that where eventually you kind of start to correct it on your own. And so I learned that as a kid. So now as an adult, I know those coping mechanisms, but there are times where I have a medication that's been prescribed to me when it's a little bit too much. I take one of those pills and it just levels me out. Yeah. It levels me out. And
thank you for sharing that, man, because
I
think a lot of people are probably, someone who's a pastor, who's a leader, who's all these great things, just being like, hey, sometimes I have to take medication.
Exactly. Yep. I have
to level me out.
Yep.
That's dope.
I have to, because otherwise I won't sleep that night. Or my mind won't shut off. And man, then it's not good.
Jeez. Wow.